Hello, and welcome back to the Leftover Popcorn Podcast. I am your host, Damian Reccomends, and this is a podcast where we talk about movies, media, anything, just to have a damn conversation. Let's get started. I have been gone for a minute. Somebody at work asked me when I was going to post another podcast, and I was like, I just had one up, but that was the 24th of October, which for me is way too long. And it has been a minute, and I like talking to you guys. And again, I like talking to myself, so this is perfect. I'm glad I can come back, but I just have been very, very busy. Some people might be like, "Oh yeah, well, what have you been doing?" I went to the Halloween party that I talked about in my last podcast. Got super drunk, which I'll talk about in a second. Red Dead Redemption came out. Just a bunch of stuff. Too much stuff. Oh yeah, and the last time I was on the podcast, October 24th, I was coughing. It is November 6th, and I'm still coughing, and I've yet to go to the hospital or see a doctor, and I think I might need to do that. But I guess just to kind of keep you guys up to date on what's going on, I'll tell you about my past week or weekend. Also, one of the other reasons why it took me a second to do the podcast is because I realized yesterday that my keyboard on my laptop is now broken because my cat Dooku threw up on it, and it got in between the keys, and now they're fucked. So that's good. But my laptop, the screen is touchscreen, so I unfortunately, but also fortunately, I can just use that. It's just a pain in the ass to do it. But the Halloween party. So I didn't have a Halloween costume whenever I talked to you guys last, but me and Kyle went up to Little Rock to Party City, and we were looking for a costume for like 2 hours because, my goodness, am I the most indecisive person I've ever met, especially when it comes to like buying things for myself. My God, I make like checklists and pros and cons. Like I'm like Jim from The Office with his pros and cons list. That's what I do when I buy anything, a video game, food, clothes, or a Halloween costume. And I wanted my Halloween costume to be good, to be great. You know, I wanted to walk in the door and people like laugh and be like, wow, that's really cool. So I was like juggling between this monk costume that I saw, and it was incredible. It just looked like a normal little monk or like a friar, and it had a cross around the neck, and it had a wig like with like a little bald cap, and I was like, dude, that's perfect. And I went up to the lady, and I said, hey, can I get number 866 or whatever? And she was like, yeah, which one is that one? And I said, the friar, and she goes, yeah, okay. So she leaves to go check, and she comes back, and she's like, yeah, we only have that in a large size. So me, still wanting the costume, like, because it was my favorite one that I saw, I looked at her, and I was like, okay, so that's not gonna fit me, like a large is too big. And I kid you not, this lady like scanned me up and down and was like, no, I think small would have been best. And I was like, okay, how fucking dare you in front of my friends and in public criticize my size, my petite frame. So I couldn't get the friar costume, and I was looking forever, and I was juggling between like that and like a vampire costume. But then I saw this Viking outfit that looked hilarious and also cool, and I figured I could go as like a wildling / Viking, so that way I could at least stick to something that I like Game of Thrones, and also Vikings, which are pretty cool, and I'm sure are somewhere in my heritage down the line. So I get my costume, and now I'm stoked. I'm fucking excited. I go to work that night. Yeah, it was pretty shitty. I still had to work, and the party started at like 9, but I didn't get off until 10. So I sprint home, and it was pouring outside that night. And if you live in Hot Springs, you know what I'm talking about. Halloween night was fucking crazy. It was pouring outside, and my power was out at the house. So me and Violet had to get ready for the Halloween party fast because we were already late to the party, but also in the dark, and we could not see. And she had to do her makeup. So I can't imagine how hard it is to do your makeup in the dark, but we found it out. We figured it out. We got all ready and stuff like that, and then we got to the party. And I will say it was a damn good party. I know I was talking it up last time on the other podcast about how excited I was, and it was definitely worth it. But I for sure, without a doubt, got way too drunk way too fast the moment that I got there, because we got there late. So everyone else is already drinking, already having fun. And you know that if you're the person who comes late to a party, everyone is like, okay, well, let's catch this guy up to speed. So me and Violet walk in, and I made the playlist for the Halloween party. So I was like, okay, where's my speaker? Like, let's get this shit started. So I get there, I plug up my phone, I fix the stereo all nice, I turn the volume all the way up, and like we're jamming. And 2 minutes after I get there, this guy is already handing me like a drink, like to take a shot. And I was like, well, Damien, this is the party that you wanted, here we go. And before I knew it, I am like on the floor, and Kyle is like on top of me, and we're doing like this weird like snow angel thing on his wood floors, and we are both hammered. It is without a doubt the fastest I have ever been drunk. And I remember I'm wearing like this tunic, right? And because of the Viking costume, and the night is going on, and it's going on, and slowly people are leaving, and like they're going outside to smoke or whatever. And it reached the point where I was like, okay, I need to throw up. Like, I can't take this anymore. And I'm skipping over a lot of the party, and it's because I really don't remember a lot of it. I mean, I know that there's like moments or whatever that were funny that somebody said, and like a lot of casual conversation or whatever, but the important stuff about this party is me getting drunk and not remembering. So I remember going outside, and it's pouring outside, but I need to throw up. So I'm sorry if you guys don't like hearing about throw up. I'm not going to go into detail or anything. It's just part of the story, and I need to cover it. So I go outside to throw up, and I have my hands on my knees, and I'm like hunched over, staring at the leaves, and like because I'm hunched over, the top half of my body is way too heavy for me, so I'm like leaning over, and I have to like catch myself, put my hand on like the wet leaves, and then I realized, Damien, don't throw up on your costume. Like that was like the top priority for me, was not throwing up on my costume, but it's this tunic, and it's all one piece, and it goes down to like my ankles. So I'm like trying to take this thing off by myself outside, and it's pouring, and I finally get it off. So I'm shirtless outside in my pants and my boots, and I'm just have my hands on my knees, and I just start going at it. Like I am letting loose outside in Kyle's backyard. And I remember my friend CJ drove down from Fayetteville, and I felt so bad. I felt so bad because I was so excited to see him, and he was excited to see me. And before I know it, I was fucking sloshed, and I don't remember the rest of the night or hanging out with him. And it sucked. I'm sure he had fun. CJ, I hope you had fun, because I did. But I remember him and Violet were like being like my mom and dad, and they were like getting all my belongings. CJ was like, "Do you want your phone?" And then Violet was like, "Do you want your charger?" And I was like, Yes, let's go. And what really sucked is my coworker Dylan, one of Kyle's friends, and now one of like somebody that Violet knows, he was at the party, and he wanted us to go to IHOP, and Violet was so excited. She was like, yes, IHOP, like right now at like 1 a.m., we're drunk and we're starving, like let's go to IHOP. And I overheard them saying that, because I was like sitting on the couch at this point. I had just came back inside, and I'm sitting on the couch like staring at the ground, like thinking over my life at this point. And I overhear them talking about IHOP across the room, and Violet is so excited. I can hear it in her voice. And she starts walking over to me, and I was like, "Babe, I'm sorry, but we have to go home." And she was like, "Oh, well, Dylan and them wanted to go to IHOP." And I was like, "I know, we can do another day. I'm so sorry, but I have to go home." Which I recommend everybody do from now on. If you reach a point, this isn't like a lesson, like I'm like, hey, you shouldn't drink and drive, because that's not the part. You shouldn't do that, but the main thing is, if you realize there's a point in the night where you realize, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore, stop. Stop it. Because, you know, like, whenever you first start drinking, you might have those thoughts, but it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to pace myself tonight. Maybe I shouldn't drink too much. But if you get drunk and you start saying, maybe I should stop, stop. Because I'm so glad I did. I don't remember getting home. Violet wasn't that drunk. She didn't have too much. And CJ was staying the night, so we all came over to the house, and our power was still out, so I just walked inside, and I remember the first thing I did was open our pantry door, took out Tums, and took out ibuprofen, and was just fucking, like, slamming them back, and the moment my face hit the pillow, I passed out. And I remember telling Violet I think it's the drunkest that I have ever been, but I think Kyle and Alex could probably debunk that, because I'm sure they have seen me drunker, but if it's not the drunkest I've ever been, it is without a doubt the worst hangover I've ever had. Because I always like, oh my god, I don't know if you guys can hear my stomach, but I'm thawing salmon in the fridge right now because I'm gonna eat like a fucking king after this podcast. But if it's not the drunkest I've ever been, it's the worst hangover I've ever had, because I always tout like, oh, I never get hangovers or whatever, and it's never too bad. I always wake up like with a headache, but that morning, that Thursday morning, my God, I felt like death. I just felt terrible. I didn't have to throw up anymore, but my goodness. I wanted to eat because I hadn't eaten anything, which is also why I got drunk so fast, by the way. If you're going to get drunk and you're going to party, stuff your face before. Because after, my body was like, Damien, you need to eat something. But it was also upset from the hangover. So my brain was like, Damien, don't eat anything because you're going to throw up. But my body was like, Damien, eat something because you're starving yourself. And I was in a bad spot. I did not handle the Halloween party very good. So because I only weigh 150 pounds and because I didn't eat anything, 2 shots went straight to my head. It was like in my veins. I was bleeding alcohol at that point. But I woke up and I handled it, and now I feel great, and I still have this cough, which really pisses me off. I need to figure that out. But yeah, overall, if you were wondering, or if you were there, the Halloween party was a success, and people liked the playlist, which I was super excited about. I had plenty of people coming up to me asking like what this song was, or like, oh, I love this song, which is the point, and I was super excited about that. Work recently has been okay. I've been working a lot because I'm trying to save up some money, which is so damn hard when you're my age or our age. Whenever you're 22, it is so damn hard to spend money, and everybody tells you to, and it seems like such an easy thing. But speaking from somebody who doesn't know anything about finance or like how to handle it or the smart way, it's hard. It's tough because there's so many things you want to do, and there's so many things like I want to do with Violet, and there's so many things that I want personally, but you gotta save money. It's gonna be smarter in the long run, and it's tough because you're battling with yourself all the time to save money. And I spent so much money on that Halloween party and before, but it was a blast and it was worth it. And that's what sucks most of the time. Whenever you do spend money, I think nowadays people are smarter. At least I would like to say that. Usually when I spend money, it's because I know I want something, or because I know I'm going to get something out of it, which, like I was saying earlier, it's why I make the pros and cons list, because I need to make sure that whenever I'm about to spend this money, it's worth it. And for the Halloween party, it was. I don't regret it for a second. I had a blast. And it's one of the best parties that I've ever been to in my life, and definitely the funnest. But yeah, work has been good, like I said, because I'm trying to save money. I'm super excited for Thanksgiving because I remember like telling you guys about how much I love Halloween or whatever, and it's because it's the start of fall, and I love seeing the leaves change or whatever. But now, if you live in Hot Springs and you're listening to this podcast, if it's sunny outside and the high is like 54, I implore you to drive downtown and keep going and drive through Whittington Park. Because it is fucking gorgeous. It is beautiful. If you ever think or dislike Hot Springs, or you think it's boring, or you think whatever you think about Hot Springs, I'm not going to disagree that I think it's boring, but my goodness, is it not beautiful? Or drive up to the mountain right now. It is. It's just gorgeous. Treat yourself to a day downtown and a day on top of the mountain. The leaves look incredible. The weather is incredible, and it's all just incredible. But speaking of November and speaking of Thanksgiving, I'm super excited because I get to go see my mom in Illinois, and I get to go see my brother, who I haven't seen in a minute, who now lives up there, and I get to see my sister Brittany. Again, who I saw in Germany, and then I saw for a little bit when she came down here. So it'll be the most of the family back together again, in a long time, in a year, and I'm very excited about that, and I'm excited to see that. Violet doesn't get to go, which is super shitty, but luckily I'll only be gone for 3 days, so I can come back and see her. Sorry for anybody else that isn't Violet, because she's going to be the only one who finds that sweet or sappy. Everyone else is going to be like, okay, stop talking about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So before then, because I'm going to be gone for a little bit and focused on doing family stuff or whatever, because I am a very family-oriented guy, at least I try to be, I'll probably lay back on the podcast for a little bit. So from now until Thanksgiving, I'm going to be cranking this shit out left and right. And they'll probably be a little shorter, 30 minutes or so, not like an hour when I talk to Kyle or Alex, which I'll do that soon as well. But probably Thursday, actually. I would like to have them on Thursday. I'll see. But what I wanted to do, the main topic of this podcast, I guess, is I wanted to do something kind of new. It's Tuesday, and I am terrible with schedules, and I'm terrible with keeping schedules and keeping like a set thing. But what I would like to do is on Tuesdays do a smaller podcast where it's kind of like a Damian Reccomends kind of thing. You know, I have so many people that know that I like movies and know that I like music and know that I like all this stuff, and I would say have a good palate for that. I have a good tongue for taste buds for knowing good movies and knowing stuff like that, and knowing what a general audience will like, I think, is what I am good at. If I'm going to brag here for a second, I think whenever I watch a movie or I listen to music, I am able to look at it from an unbiased point of view most of the time, unless it's Star Wars or Transformers or stuff like that. But I think I'm a very good person to ask, what movies should me and my girlfriend watch tonight or something. Like, we want to watch a scary movie. I am good at, if I know the person that's asking me, I'm good at knowing and like gauging on what type of movie they will like. And I think that's kind of what I want to do for this podcast, and maybe every Tuesday. I want to hold myself to that, but you guys, please don't hold me to that. Don't be like, hey, it's Tuesday, where's the Damian Reccomends? But today, I am going to recommend, and my name is Damien. So I want to recommend something, I guess, from each category that I want you guys to just check out. And it is still close to Halloween, so I think scary movies, plus they'll never go out of style, but I think scary movies are still up there. And as far as movies go, something that I want to recommend to you guys is Hereditary. Now, most of you may have seen it, and if you know who I am and you have followed me and the OMC channel, you know that we have already reviewed it, and I've already talked about it. And I'm not going to talk about it too much here. Whenever I recommend something, it will be less of a review, because I want you guys to experience it for yourself. I'm just going to give you the platform for that. So, if you don't know, Hereditary is a horror movie. I would say horror. It does not hit you hard with jump scares, or very cheesy things or cliches. It is a very original, very real horror movie. It is unsettling. It is not, if you're in the mood for something that's like, just kind of popcorn horror, like an Insidious 5 or whatever, however many movies they made of that, that's not really the movie for you. But if you want to watch a good horror movie, a well-made one that is also scary, I know that every time I talk about horror movies and I say that they're good horror movies, everyone's like, oh, so it's probably not scary, the acting is probably good, and the music is good. That's all true, but also, this movie will scare the shit out of you. This is the movie that makes you scared to, like, be in your house alone at night. And If you want to see your girlfriend scared, or hell, if you're a girl and you want to see your boyfriend scared, watch Hereditary. The movie might make you cry because it's so serious and so real, but it is also going to scare the shit out of you. I watched it just again last night, and it took me a bit to fall asleep, and it was the second time that I watched it. So I would recommend you guys tonight or sometime give Hereditary a watch. If you can rent it from Redbox, or if you have a PlayStation or an Xbox, you can rent it for like $5 on the like Microsoft or PlayStation store. Give it a watch, guys. It's incredible. And let's jump into music. This is an interesting one that I want you guys to check out if you haven't yet. But it is the new. I'm gonna say new. I know some people are like, that's not new, dude. That came out like 3 weeks ago. But it's new to me, and it's the new 1975 song, Love It If We Made It. And it's such a weird thing. I'm glad I'm talking about this, too, this song. I won't recommend anything else by them. That's up to you, but I will recommend this song, and I think if you like it, you will then turn to everything else that they make. I was such an avid, like, I don't know, someone who just didn't like the 1975. My friend Tyler does, my friend Kyle does, like, they love them. I think it's Tyler's favorite band, and it's Kyle's maybe as well. And if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, you know the song Chocolate that was on the radio for such a long time. But they have a new song out that I'm going to recommend to you guys, and it's called Love It If We Made It. And you guys need to listen to it about 3 times. It's not a long song, so don't worry. It's not like a 6-minute song or something. It's just like 3. You listen to it 3 times just to get a feel of the music and the lyrics, and it is one of the best songs I have heard this year and in a long time. And I don't even really like the band, but with the instrumentals, the lyrics, and what the song is about, it is so damn good. It's a protest song, basically, and the lyrics are super eye-opening because it's basically the lead singer just kind of pouring his heart out and protesting about stuff, and it's super well made. And if you don't watch Hereditary because it's 2 hours, or if you don't do something else I'm going to recommend, at least give this 1975 song a listen. Love It If We Made It. It's 3 minutes. It's going to take 3 minutes of your time, and I guarantee you will add it to your playlist or add it to anything that you listen to music on. I guarantee it. So for movies, I recommend Hereditary. For music, a song this week, I would recommend Love It If We Made It by the 1975. Also, I'm not going to do this often, but I didn't get the chance to talk about it before. I'm not going to talk about food, really, or recommend a restaurant, because I don't eat out that much or that different of places to recommend a new one every week. But there is a German restaurant downtown. It is called Steinhaus Keller. It's right there, like, where that subway is and stuff. Like, it's in that little, like, pathway. They just added new signs up and everything like that. But it is the best restaurant in Hot Springs, hands down. They are usually busy and they have weird hours, so give it a shot and make sure before you go, if you're going to go, look up to see if they're even open, because sometimes they close when they're not supposed to, or they open when they're not supposed to, or at least as according to their hours. But it is the best restaurant in Hot Springs. Me and Violet have been there like 5 times, and our wallets hate us for it. That is something that you guys need to know before you go. It is definitely a dinner date place. You go there to spend money. I'm not saying you're going to spend $100 or $70 or $60 or anything like that, but be ready to spend, if it's 2 people, like $40 if you want to have a good time. What I do recommend is the frikadellen bites as an appetizer and the Jaeger Schnitzel chicken as your entree. You will not regret it, I guarantee it. And again, I'm guaranteeing all of these. Seriously. I think all 3 of these things, they're not new. The restaurant isn't new to Hot Springs. The 1975 song isn't that new, and neither is Hereditary. They came out last year. But still, these are things that if you haven't caught up on, please check out. And then from there, you can branch out. There's other restaurants next to Steinhaus that if you like Steinhaus, you'll probably like those. And 1975 might give you a whole new genre of music to listen to if you haven't before. And then, last but definitely not least, video games. I talked about it at the beginning, and again, I'm not going to review it because I'll talk about it for 40 minutes. And for people who don't like talking about, my audio listeners who don't like talking about video games, do not worry. I'm going to talk about this for 1 minute. But that being said, if you would like to hear me talk about Red Dead Redemption 2, then let me know. Message me on Instagram or something whenever on any of my pictures, or DM me, and just let me know if you want a fully fledged review of Red Dead Redemption, because I'm still not done with it. I've been playing that game fucking for hours. I'm still not done with it. But I kid you not, it is already one of the best games that I've ever played, and I haven't beat it. The story is so damn compelling. It's the most realistic game I've ever played, and it makes you want to take your time. And it is not an RPG game per se, but even more so than actual RPGs, this game makes me want to roleplay as a cowboy. And I don't mean in a sexual way. God, every time I say roleplay, it always comes across as dirty, and I don't mean it that way. I mean that, like, when you're playing the game, you want to act like a cowboy. You want to do things slow. You want to say howdy, partner, to every single fucking person that passes you on the street, and you will. And God, I could talk about it for hours. I need to make sure I don't. But if you have not bought that game and you own a console and you do play video games, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's $60. It costs as much as every other game out there. Buy that fucking game. Your girlfriend or your loved ones will be very upset that you purchase it, because you won't want to talk to them. You will not want to do anything else. You will skip breakfast, lunch, and dinner to play that game. You will starve yourself in real life to eat in the fucking video game. I assure you. Please buy that game. And you know what? Maybe I'll just make a podcast talking about it too. I might have Alex on the podcast Thursday talking about it. Maybe I'm going to do some thought on that and think. But yeah, so just a quick run through. I recommend Red Dead Redemption 2 for video games. I recommend Stein House Killer if you want to go out to eat tonight and spend some money. I recommend the 1975 song Love It If We Made It, and I recommend Hereditary. So if you have some money to spend today and you want to have some fun, buy Red Dead Redemption 2 right now, and while it's downloading, go eat Steinhouse Keller, and on your way to go eat, listen to the 1975 song, and then after your meal, you come home, you watch the movie Hereditary, and then when it's done and your girlfriend goes to sleep, or your boyfriend goes to sleep, you can play Red Dead Redemption 2 until 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. And that sounds like a plan, my dudes. Sorry, I don't want to do this podcast too long, because I'm just going to be... I almost said barking. I don't know why I almost said barking. Violet made this funny joke the other day where she said bork, bork, bork when she saw a dog, and I laughed so fucking hard. And instead of coughing, I almost said barking, which is super funny if you think about it. I might just start calling human coughs barks. Dude, I'm barking all the fucking time now. Yeah, it's maybe not as funny as I thought it was. Maybe in person it would be funny. But yeah. What the fuck? Well, there's this little worm thing on my counter, so I'm going to figure that out and see what the hell that is. Once again, guys, this is the Leftover Popcorn Podcast, and I was your host, Damian Reccomends. Thank you so much for listening and staying tuned. I know this is shorter than some of the other ones, and like I said, these are just going to be all over the place, just conversations, just me seeing what's up. And on Thursday, if you want to see and hear, or just hear, Alex and Kyle and me talk about random shit, then give it a listen, guys. And until then, have a good day, and thank you for listening. Bye.